Hello, and welcome to the Cup TV, the Currently Unnamed Podcast, where we put the real and the tea in reality. And you can always come to us first to quench your thirst. I'm David Healy, the Survivor superfan, and as always, I am showing one of the many autographs I have from different survivors I've met over the years. This time, I've decided to show one of my favorite robbed queens, who I would love to see play a second time. She wrote, "David, my Facebook bestie, thank you so much for your love and support, XOXO." And it is Lauren Ashley Beck, whom we all love, I'm sure. And I am drinking water today.
Oh, hello. I'm the girl. Oh, yes, ding, that is me. I am your girl, Lana, your resident diva. I am here to give the tea, spill the tea, and drink the tea because you know I love me some tea purr. And if you have some tea, you know what to do. Hit me up. I am not drinking anything because I am not thirsty. But if I was drinking something, I would probably be drinking it out of my cup mug. Cup mug. You can get
Cup mug.
your
Cup mug.
You can get your cup mug at monologiescreations.etsy.com, where you can get all of your official cup merch, not just the cup mug, but we have all other things and anything else that you want to get. We ship internationally and domestically, so there are no excuses. And I'm looking at Robyn and KaMorian. That's what I'm looking at right now. Today, I'm looking at y'all. Cup mugs. Period.
What about Jack?
I have one.
Jack has
It's
one.
just about 5 hours in that direction.
Right. I only talk to the people who don't have one. Mm-hmm.
Well, everyone, I'm Robyn. I'm glad to be back for another episode. My opinions on certain people and everything has changed since episode 1, so I'm glad to be back and to talk about this episode, even though I hate the outcome. But, it is what it is.
Well, hello everybody. It's your favorite Black queer content creator, KaMorian, and I'm so glad to be back for another episode. And hopefully, I won't fall asleep this time.
Well,
hi, my name is Jack, your resident college student. And when I fail tests, I also have very, very sad music playing behind me. It's normally when the third one hits that's like, oh yeah, no, you're failing the course. Play the orchestra.
I'm Esme. I'm your second favorite Black queer content creator. I'm in the mood to grill a candle, and I am drinking some kombucha out of my cup mug because I have gut issues. Yeah.
Well, I'm excited to get into this. We're about to talk about episode 3 of Survivor. And I think, was it 3?
It was 3.
No, I held up the number 2.
Yeah, Esme said 2.
I was like, what?
No,
but this was definitely an interesting episode. I think a lot of us were excited to see a lot of things that happened, but maybe a little sad with the outcome. I know I sure was, because I lost my first draft pick.
Oh. Well, that's what you get for stashing from me.
I guess so. But let's just get right into it. So we start out the episode. We see the Lulu losers, as they've called themselves, coming back to camp, and they've decided they're going to be a strong 4. We see Sabaya give the shot in the dark back to Emily. And then Emily starts questioning things. She's like, wait a second. Why was it the second vote that Brandon went home? Because there were 5 of us voting. So shouldn't there have been more votes to come? Or 4 of them. So it should have been at least a tie at 2 because she didn't know Sabaya lost her vote. So she calls her out. She's like, did you vote Sabaya? And Sabaya's like, what are you talking about? I voted, yeah.
Mhm.
What do you all think about this moment? Do you think it was a mistake not to tell Emily ahead of time that there would only be 3 votes cast at that tribal?
I think so, yeah. I mean, it's obvious how smart Emily is with this game. I wasn't here earlier, but like Emily has grown on me. I wasn't here earlier to talk about because I just life. But Emily has grown on me, and Emily. This is my first season of Survivor that I'm like watching live. That I'm actually like fully gonna watch. And she's been an interesting character to see. She's very smart. She knows what's happening, and she knows is at the bottom of the tribe. So I think if Sabaya had like given her that olive branch, it would have helped both of them. More importantly, more importantly, we know what happens, but I think it would have helped in a situation like that.
Anybody else? I think it's pretty straightforward. So let's just go ahead and jump over to the Bellow camp. So this part kind of confused me because I'll be honest, I was watching this without sound on at first, but we see Jake attending to the fire, and he stands up and then just suddenly starts to collapse. And I was like, oh no, are we going to get another Mike Scoopin incident here? But luckily he was able to recover and not get burnt. And I feel like we got a really good bonding moment between him and Kendra over this. We see them start to talk. She checks in on him. And I really feel like this is laying groundwork to things to come through the season. What did you all think? Any worries for Jake's safety here?
I mean, I was worried.
And obviously the dog was worried too.
The dog was worried. Well, definitely worried for his safety, but also can we say like that really just saved this man's life in this game? I think because like he was kind of being looked at as like a potential like we're gonna get him out whenever we can because he's a lawyer. So Kendra kind of taking him under her wing right now is kind of. We'll see this duo kind of play out going forward, hopefully for the good, and that potentially Jake going further because of this situation.
Yeah, I'm glad that he's okay. I was worried, but it seemed like he recovered pretty quickly, so I wasn't like as nervous as I would have been if it was long. He recovered pretty quickly. He was coherent. He was talking, but it seemed like he like inhaled too much smoke and stood up too fast, and then just kind of took a tumble.
Yeah, I mean, good on him for somehow having a medical emergency turn into a really smart game move. And also, they just casually use this as like a gotcha moment for the next time on Survivor last time. This was not nearly as impactful to anything that was going on.
Right.
So, I mean, I guess good on them for making us confused, but also like weird emphasis on the scene.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So then we hop on over to the Reba tribe. We're just jumping around. First thing we learn is that their crab, I guess, ate their worms in the basket. Okay, I guess they need to eat something, right? But then we quickly see Austin talk about the clue for the Beware Advantage, and he takes Drew off to a mission to find this idol, or at least the next step in finding the idol. And they come up. This part was kind of funny to me because Austin designates Drew to be the lookout at first, and he's like, if anybody starts coming, talk about what you want them to have at a reward. Like, how could he do that organically so that it's not awkward? Could you just imagine Drew be like, oh, by the way, I really hope they have French fries at the next. Like, I was like, how do you expect him to do that? But they switch places. Eventually, Drew starts digging. Meanwhile, we see Dee and Julie walking and talking, and they think that there's more to the relationship with Drew and Austin than what they initially thought. They think that they might have something that they're sharing together. And they walk on up and they catch Drew in the act of digging. He tries to quickly like jet away, but he looks like a deer in headlights. And eventually he realizes he needs to come clean. He blames it on Sifu at first. He's like, oh, yeah, we saw Sifu digging here. So we've been digging here too. Um, but the girls have him clocked.
Mhm.
They definitely knew what was up there. Um, and Austin comes over, and yeah, I just think this could have hurt things for them. What do you think about this moment, KaMorian? You're muted, sir.
I'm sorry. Yeah, I definitely agree. Like, I don't know. It's very 50-50, to be honest with you. So, but I'm very intrigued how this is going to go forward in the game as the season goes on. But I'm very intrigued. So it's probably it's 50-50 for me
Mhm.
personally.
It definitely seemed to have an impact with how they interact with the women in their alliance moving forward. They're
Mhm.
super forthcoming with information later in the episode. Anybody else have thoughts on how they handled that?
Um, Sorry, Robyn, if you want to go
No,
ahead.
I just wanted to say D is mother, and
Mhm.
I loved her and Julie's dynamic, and
Uh,
I love that they clocked and they knew how to play it off really well, like they were just walking by. Um, we'll talk more about what happened later on in the episode, but
I wanted more D content, and the show has delivered
Mhm.
me with the
yeah,
D content I need. But I think for D and Julie, for D, it kind of shows that like these two guys have a stronger bond with each other than they do with her and God, I cannot remember all the names. Julie,
Julie.
with her and Julie, and the fact that they also kind of straight up lied to them about what went on, and that they were pretty easy to catch on because Drew was not good at having a poker face. Drew was not good at concealing or being playing nonchalant. You saw he looked like he just shit his pants. It
Pretty much.
wasn't good, but I think this has shown them that they, hey, we need to be a little bit more forthcoming with this actual alliance. But I can see this causing issues maybe down the line, especially if like let's say a swap happens and it's like the two girls and one of the guys the girls might stick together and try to take out one of the guys if it comes down to something like that.
Mhm. While we're on the subject of D, I want to say on Twitter, I put like my rankings of my favorite players each week. D shot up the rankings. She was my least favorite preseason. I wasn't getting a lot from her, but now I think she's in my top 4. I'm loving D, especially after this episode. Lana, did you have any thoughts on this interaction between Drew and Austin with D and Julie when Drew got caught?
I mean, I felt like that was just. I thought that was like so like Survivor 101. Like you weren't even you just got caught and then you don't. I feel like if he would have owned up to like I feel like if you're in an alliance with somebody, and I know you're trying to feel people out, still trying to figure out what's the best move for you to make for your game. But if you're making an alliance in this game where it's only 20 something days, you have to make that alliance and trust that alliance. Like you really don't have time to feel people out in 26 days. It's either you with them or you're not in that sort of situation. So I feel like they should have been so forthright at the beginning. If these are the people you want to rock with, you need to establish that very quickly in this 26-day game. And it's like, hey, this is who I want. So if I find this item, just like Drew went to Austin and they told each other all their secrets. If you're going to include D in your alliance, she should know these things because all that's going to do is cause resentment later. Like Esme said, if something happens, if a swap happens and they end up on two different sides and somebody gets swap screwed, what is it going to be for them to trust you now when we
Mhm.
couldn't even trust you when we were on the same beach together and we were supposedly being our same alliance? So I hope they learn from that, and I don't know if Dee and Julia is going to look at this and be like, okay, we'll keep this in my back pocket. I trust you for now, but Is this something I can see for us long term? I don't know. I'm gonna use you for what I know you can do for me. Austin, you can be physically, so you can stick around for that. Drew, you smart, you can stick around for that. You can get us to win these challenges, and we'll win. But when it gets down to individual challenges, do I need you? And we'll see how it works out for them. But I think that kind of hurt them a little bit.
Yep. We'll definitely see soon enough. I think.
Yeah.
I think we're gonna see whether they are gonna solidify something or if it's gonna cause a crack. But let's go ahead and move on to a rare thing that we don't get a lot in the new era. We get a reward challenge.
I was like,
Mhm.
and the
Yeah.
crazy part, I missed the first 10 minutes and I didn't go back and watch the first 10 minutes of Survivor. And I was like, when I turned it on, I was like, oh, reward challenge. In this day and age, we don't do some reward challenges, but okay, there we go. There we go.
Yeah. So yeah, with the 90 minutes, that means we have more time for things like reward challenges. Personally, I've never minded having the combination here, but I think it is kind of refreshing, especially when we can see a tribe win a challenge that they don't usually win other challenges. But basically, the reward challenge, I'm not good with relaying what happened in challenges. But the tribes start; they have to sit out two people. The other two tribes, Lulu has all four. But they start at the end of the beach. They have to go through like an obstacle course thing and throw a ball and then run and quickly catch it. Brandon, I don't think you would have done well at this, my friend. And then they have some rings they have to throw and land onto these little poles. And we see Caleb do that for the Lulu tribe, and he leads his tribe to victory. Finally, they got a win. So yay.
They did it.
And Reba came in second place.
At
So
least they got some fruits.
Yes, they got fruit.
they got fruit.
They got some fruit, but Lulu got the fruit.
Mhm.
Ruby got some fruits. That's
Yep.
cute. And Lulu was able to send someone from their tribe to another tribe's camp to raid their camp and go back with some stuff and information. And so we get to see Jeff is like, so who are you going to send? And so they decide collectively, we're going to send Caleb. Caleb's going to go. Caleb's our salesman. Caleb's going to go. Then they said, where are you going to go? And they were like, then they left us on the cliffhanger, like, ooh, who's he gonna go? And we see the reactions of both people at each camp deciding, if they're gonna come here or whether. Kendra was like, if they show up here, I'm killing somebody. Like somebody's gonna die today. If they show up here on this beach, don't walk on Bello, because Kendra was gonna kill you. And I think Caleb heard that. And he was like, I ain't going over to Bellows, Joe, because Kendra is crazy. And she's going to kill you.
The shotgun ready.
And
Would you want to be the person going to one of the tribes?
Me personally, I wouldn't. Because, see, I feel like I'll be too nice about stuff. I'll be like,
Yeah, I'll be too timid.
Mhm.
I'll be like, I don't know what to take. I'll just take your little pot here. And they were like, we already have a pot. Why did you get a pot? And I'll be like, I don't know. I just crushed on the press. I'm not the one to do that.
I would be fine to go. I think it would depend on how many people are left on my tribe. I wouldn't want to go if there's only 3 people left, if I'm leaving just 3 people behind, because then they can plot something. They can really easily plot something. But I'm also someone that would be like, I'll just take your flint because we don't have flint.
That's what I was wondering, why they didn't take flint. I'm like,
They probably were not allowed to.
Yeah.
I wonder if they could. Yeah.
I was wondering that too. I was like, can they take their flint? Because that would have been the obvious thing for them to take the flint.
Or I'll be like, I'll take this person, so we have an extra person on our tribe.
You come with me because we don't have enough people.
Like Austin, I see you're doing good at these challenges. You're coming home with me.
I will say though, one of the very first tribe raids we ever saw on Survivor was in Pearl Islands, and the person who was sent over was pretty ruthless with how they took things. They wanted the tarp that they were using for a shelter. The tribe wouldn't take it down for her, so she started cutting all the rope and just pulled it on down herself. And she's like, "Okay,
Oh
I'll
my
take
god.
it."
Mhm.
And guess what? She won that season.
Oop.
So
Oh,
you never know; it could work out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I would
wow.
never be. I remember watching one season of Survivor where they had the tribe go raid a camp
Mhm.
when that tribe wasn't there, and they literally like took everything and put the fire out, like poured water on their fire, and I was just like,
Oh,
oh my god, that's so ruthless. I wouldn't be able to
George.
do that. Right. I'll be like, absolutely not. No, we can't. I don't want to do all of that. So yeah, I couldn't. I'll be like, just hand me like a couple of pieces of fruit you got over here or something. We'll be
Mhm.
fine. Yeah, so I'm not the one.
Mhm. Yeah. So
I
first,
know
before
who won that
you know,
season.
okay. I didn't know. I didn't know. So first we see Caleb. He before he goes to the camp, he opens up a package he was given, and he realizes he has a goodwill advantage that he has to give to somebody on this other tribe, and hopefully it will earn him goodwill with that player. So I think it is kind of a mixed apple here, or mixed bag. I don't think mixed apple is a saying. Um, but he goes into this pretty strategically. He wants everybody to kind of feel like they're having fun with him. He has people talking about themselves. um, he finds out that some people play guitar and some people sing along with each other at the camp. And then he tells them in a very kind way, oh yeah, we're going to take the fishing gear, but we're going to leave your spear, which I think is a good way to handle it. Give the bad news, but then here's some good news for you too.
Yeah.
um, and then he quickly decides to do some one-on-ones with people from the tribe so he can get some information. The thing is, I think some of the people clocked that he's trying to get information. Um,
Oh, as in everybody.
pretty much,
Everybody clap.
pretty
They,
much.
they all looked at him and were like,
You're good. You're really
Hmm.
good.
But
But I don't think that's a bad thing, though, honestly. Not for him, because, yeah, he's good. And if something crazy happens, like a swap, you want somebody good on your team. So I wouldn't be that mad. But,
mhm. My only concern with this is like listening to preseason press. A lot of people from this cast, they were noticing that Caleb was smiling at everybody. Like they would initially feel good with him, but then they see, oh, he's smiling at everybody. It's not just me. So I think it might be a little bit too transparent with Caleb specifically, because I think people are hyper aware of how he's been interacting with people. And we saw people talking about that um, at the Reba tribe. And we saw people talking about that while he was gone on his own
mhm.
tribe. But he does end up deciding to give the goodwill advantage to Drew. I think he did pick a pretty good person here. Drew's kind of at the epicenter of the tribe. I feel like a lot of people feel connected to him. So if he
Mhm.
gets in good with Drew, I think he could be good with pretty much everybody in the tribe. Do you all think he made the right decision?
I do think that he made a rather strong early play. I'm not 100% sure it's the smartest decision for him right now. I think there are a couple other people who you could say are a lot. I'm just trying to think because he kind of walked into the tribe and was like, I need to choose my best player now and I can't do anything else. So I guess in the moment it was a fine choice, but I feel like Drew's position in the game may be blown up sooner rather than later.
Hmm.
Mm.
It's possible. I could see that. But so thinking about this season so far, I think a theme that I'm kind of seeing with players is that people are learning from their mistakes. We've seen it with Emily a lot, but here we see it with Drew. Drew opens this advantage. He finds out that he has safety without power. So he will be able to wait, that's not true.
Yeah, no.
Oh,
No.
he already had the safety without power, and he
Right.
decided to tell his tribe about that. Um, But in addition, when he sees what his advantage is here, so basically he has a goodwill advantage, which allows somebody who has a canceled vote to be able to vote.
Yep.
He decides to share that with his alliance as well. So I think that he's definitely correcting some of his mistakes we saw earlier in this episode. And that just seems to be on theme with what I've seen quite a bit this season so far. Okay. So we go back to the Lulu camp, and Sean's feeling better about his tribe. He says they're no longer the Lulu losers. And I think this is where we really start to see things kind of work against Caleb. Sabaya is talking with Emily and trying to solidify a bond with her and Sean as a trio, which leaves Caleb as the only person on the outs. She's saying, yeah, I think Caleb's making too many connections, which, I mean, it is the third episode and he's one of your closest allies. So I felt like it was a little early for Sabaya to be worrying about that. But yeah, we see Emily reacting, and she seems pretty happy about it. She's seeing why Caleb is being targeted. We don't get any indication from her at that point that it might not be something that she's cool with. I think at this point she's probably like, I'll take what I can get. They're giving me a lifeline, so I'll take it.
And she might have not thought too much about it until she saw Caleb again. Was like, actually, I might not want to do this.
Right.
You know, because it could have been like in the moment. Oh yes, I see this. Wait, no, this person who's actually been the one that's been reaching out and building the bridge the most with me. Maybe I don't want to cut, but we'll see what happens.
I mean, here's the thing for me. I felt like, number one, it was way too early for Sabaya to start going against Caleb. Like, seriously, way too early for that. Like, this is the person that is helping you at least be at least somewhat in the competitions. Like, it ain't like you've been carrying the team for the competitions. It's really literally him doing most of the work. And y'all still losing. It's kind of crazy to start thinking about your strongest player and sending them out the door this early.
When you keep losing.
Right. And because you two were seen as such a duo already, that's like, why would you cut your partner, your pair, even though you want to work with Sean? And I get that. You can work with Sean and you can have Sean, but perception is you and Caleb were like the duo and Sean is the third person in. Keep that perception going so later on down the line, when you do want to cut Caleb, you could still do that and you'll still have a partner. It was just way too soon for that. And then for why would you trust Emily? This is why I said Emily jumped up a little bit for me as far as gameplay. I'm still not sure if I like her as a person generally in this game, but gameplay, this is where she jumped up for me. Because she realized once somebody told her that she wanted to go against Caleb, and she was like, shocking. Am I gonna turn that down? No, because I need a lifeline. I have nothing else left to give in this game to get in this game. She's like, but that's shocking to me that you will really just turn on the one person who we assumed you were aligned with this entire time, and only for you to be like, so Emily came at you the first day, literally came at you and was calling you out, and this is who we put our trust in. The math ain't math it makes me at all.
Emily's also aware that like Sabaya didn't have a vote and wasn't honest about that, and Sabaya still doesn't have a vote. So at this point, so it doesn't make sense for her to start to like, let me turn on this ally when I don't have a way to protect myself with my own vote right now. I don't think this is the smartest move for her to start thinking about cutting him now.
Okay, so we get back to the Bellow camp and we see Jake is fishing, and this is where we get back to the three girls that have an alliance here, and they're really solidifying everything. They're talking about who to target between Jake and Bruce. Yep, sorry. But this is where we start to see the dividends are kind of paid from that moment with Kendra and Jake, because everybody pretty much decides they don't want to get rid of Jake. She talks about that story and Kelly's like, yeah, that makes me even feel better about Jake. And then Katura, she keeps drilling in. Oh, I think we should get Bruce. I think we should get Bruce.
Katura doesn't care about Jake. She wants Bruce out.
She is so like one track mind with her one-sided rivalry with Bruce, and I'm loving it.
Yeah, I this is what made me nervous about Bellows Trial. Watching this conversation with these girls, this is what made me nervous because Kelly makes me nervous. Only because I want Couture in this game. Kelly is like, I can play both sides. I can go with the girls, I can go with the guys. But let me go talk to Brando, who is
Her number one ally. She
right.
says.
That's my number one. Let me go talk to Brando. We're both in the middle. We making these. We go if we go to tribal. We decide what we want to do. And Brando was like, I don't really trust Couture. And I was like, wait, what? Hold on, wait. Come back, rewind that. No, it's not Couture. We keep her name out your mouth. Period. And so I'm like, okay, I just got a feeling that Kelly will be like, if they ever go to tribal, we'll never know. But I felt like she would pick whatever Brando wanted. If Brando said Couture, she'd be like, okay, sure, let's go with the guys on this one, and that'll be it. Because she's just that kind of, I can go both ways. It doesn't matter to me. I'm not. I want her to commit to the girl side, but I don't know. I just want her to keep. I just want them to keep Couture's name out their mouth. But it might not matter because, yeah, no, whatever.
Well, let's hop on back over to the Reba tribe. We're just bouncing around. So we keep seeing more damage control here. So Austin has decided to repair trust with the two women in their alliance. He's going to share his Beware advantage with them. So they all look at that. They discuss. They figure out where they need to be digging. So the women, Julie and Dee, they decide to go dig by this tree. And eventually they find a rope that's buried underground. And as they're working on the rope, J. Maya walks up. So they're trying to play dumb with her there. But they were able to find a hammer and a clue that tells them they need to smash rocks at around the well. And as a sign of good faith, which shows me that things have been paying off for Austin and Drew, they decide to give the hammer and the clue back to him. And he goes smashing around and eventually finds the idol. He does find out that the idol comes with a caveat this time. So it's only good at his first tribal council unless he gives up his vote at his first tribal council he attends, and then it is good until the merge. But if he gives up 2 votes, then it's good up until the final 5. I'm curious what you all thought, first of all, about the decision for Dee and Julie to actually share the hammer and clue with Austin instead of finding it themselves. And I wonder what you all think about the twist on the idol.
I have one question about the twist of the idol. So let's say Austin doesn't go to tribal until merge. What happens if he gives up his first vote? Does that mean does that just push it to the final 5?
I would assume so. Like, if he is not losing, that isn't his fault. And at least how I read it in my mind, the twist is meant to essentially be like, oh yeah, no, I just kept losing my vote because I didn't find the idol, versus, oh yeah, no, I'm powering up the idol. So it's meant to be that subversion of, yeah, no, I just kept losing my vote. I never found it. Until it's like, oh yeah, no, I have a full idol right here. And what are you going to do about it?
Yeah, I will say I love that they found it, Julie and Dee. I think it shows a sign of good faith, like, of course, giving it to Austin. And they already know that they're all looking for it together. So it might as well just share it. And then kind of Austin has all the blood on his hand, right? Because if you go to like a merge, a swap or whatever, you'd be like, well, Austin got an idol. We could blindside him. There's so many scenarios that could work in their favor in that direction. What I didn't like is them, you know, my girl J Maya is kind of left out of all of this.
Mm-hmm.
I wish we got more from her, honestly.
I wish we got
Mhm.
No
more.
confessionals.
No.
Yeah. It's strange because it's like there are 4 people on that tribe,
Mhm.
and then Sifu and Jeremiah are off to the side doing something, getting blamed
I
for
don't
the
know what
reason the
they're
other herd
doing.
is starting.
Right.
But we don't give them confessionals and we don't give them airtime on TV. But we'll be sure to give them something on Twitter afterwards as a behind the scenes stuff.
The
I'm
X
like
scene, yes.
some extra scene stuff. We go give them
So
that.
there's
I'm like
stuff they're doing, but can
they're
you put
doing
that in
things,
the
but we don't want to
episode?
put it in the episode. But
Mhm.
we will give it to you on the cutting room floor stuff. Like why would this stuff needs to be seen on TV, not on Twitter? Everybody, you know what I'm saying? It's so I hate
It's
that.
so strange.
Mhm.
Yeah.
It
I'll
is.
also say I do love the twist on the idol. I think it's a great thing to have you kind of work for it to become like an idol that will last longer. I actually played an org Ice Survivor where I had an idol like that where I had to give up my vote, and it's exhilarating for real. Uh, but no, I do love the twist though.
Yeah, I think they're doing better with the twist so far this season
Mhm.
compared to a few other seasons we've seen lately. Um, Also, as far as returning the hammer to Austin, I'm always of the mind that it's more important to have trustworthy allies than it is to
Mhm.
have an idol for yourself. And plus, they know where the idol is now, so I think they made the right decision ultimately. Um, okay, let's move on. So we get back to the immunity challenge. Does anybody remember what went on in the immunity challenge and want to talk about it?
What was
Wait,
So
Man,
the challenge is they start two people have to sit out for the 2 tribes that have not lost anybody yet. I don't remember who. I know that
Julie and Dee,
Julie
Brando,
and
and
Dee.
Kelly.
Okay, with the sit outs. They start out, they have this cart, and they have to, one player has to kind of climb up a little rickety thing, get a key off to unlock boxes, and then another key. So there's 2 keys they have to do to unlock these boxes. They put these puzzle pieces onto this cart. They push it to basically this kind of giant gate where they have to
yeah.
then put all the pieces through, dismantle the cart, put the cart through, reassemble the cart,
Right.
all the pieces back on. Then 3 of them start building this cube. Well, one person is basically just the spotter.
mhm.
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 yeah.
What's
And
so
we get
crazy? Lulu was killing it at the beginning.
They
They
were.
could have won.
Lulu was
Mhm.
killing it at the beginning. I was like, look at
Mhm.
Lulu go. They was
Yeah.
getting through. They was speeding through. They was.
They got to the
Sean
puzzle
had
first, I think.
Sean had a little
They did.
problem with the key
Mhm.
off. Sean had a little problem getting the key off for a minute
I was
because
like,
he
oh,
wasn't.
here they go.
I was like, oh, here Louise again. He
But they
got
were
the hang.
doing so well.
He
Good.
got the hang of
Good.
it.
So
Went
well.
out and went out and they dismantled and Bello got caught up under some stuff. No, Reba got caught up. They couldn't get their cart through and they was putting the
Mhm.
pieces in front. So Bello and Lulu was getting it. They got to the thing. And then it was like, what happened? They cannot
Yeah.
do a puzzle to save their lives. And see, they was mad at Brandon for not knowing how to do a puzzle. None
Right.
of y'all know how to
They
do a
do the
puzzle.
puzzle.
Like
this
the
was the
whole
one he could have done.
the whole
I think the
time.
thing, I do understand why they were upset with Brandon though, because Brandon said he was good at puzzles and then messed up the puzzle. I think there's a difference between messing up a puzzle when
And
you
then
say you're not
saying,
good
I
at
get it.
puzzles, than when messing up a puzzle and going, hey, this is my thing, and then you mess it up. But I do feel like if he was here for the puzzle part, he would have helped. It would have gone a little bit better. I don't know if I would have won because I just feel like the Lulu tribe doesn't have as good communication as the other tribes. And I think that's also where this puzzle messes you up because it's not just about the puzzle, it's about communicating, about being like, oh, I need help lifting this piece up and shoving it into this area. Or wait, no, this piece goes over here because you can still shout out and help each other without having it just fall into Emily.
I just think
Yeah.
everybody just didn't know what they were doing. And even the Bello tribe was kind of like Bruce was freaking out for a minute. He was like, "Just we
Yeah.
get to heaven talk," and I was like, calm down, guy." And
You're doing too
but
much.
you're doing too much. But yeah, I it just didn't go how we thought it was gonna go. Well, it went
Yeah.
exactly how we thought it was gonna go because
Yeah.
it went
And then
exactly. Yeah, it went how we thought.
there's a
And
moment where you can see like the defeat come across
Yeah, with the
Emily's face
feet.
before they even
Right.
move because
I,
Emily's at this advantage point where they can see the other two puzzles and it's like kind of just like, well, I don't know what I can
They were
do.
just kind of waiting for
waiting for it to be over, like
It's like,
and
Yeah.
y'all put the puzzle piece in already.
can you just
right.
pull the trigger and end my
Yeah.
suffering?
And I can't think of a time that there's been such somber music playing
Ugh.
at the end of a challenge when a team was finally winning. I'm like, well, that's kind of raining on their parade, isn't it? You're just focusing on the Lulu tribe
I mean,
losing there with
I
the
think
music.
at this point, even production felt bad for
Mm.
Lulu. It was just like, y'all just ain't, y'all just can't win. You get rid of two people and you still can't win. We just feel so bad. It just
Mhm.
felt bad.
It
They
was
needed
horrible.
Hannah and she quit. No.
Hannah was the glue
Hannah
this tribe
MVP.
needed. If Hannah doesn't quit, Hannah wins the season. I'm saying it
Right.
here.
Yeah. So we see them lose. And I'll be honest, like the way they kept focusing on Emily, I'm like, yep, she's gone this episode. She's gone 100%. Everything else has been just trying to throw us off, a red herring. But we get back to camp and we see everybody kind of scrambling. Caleb feels pretty confident that Emily's probably going to go. We see Sabaya come and have a conversation with him. And she comes up with an idea that they should pitch each other to Emily.
Mhm.
She
Now,
doesn't totally phrase it like
typically,
that though. She says, she kind of says, I'm saying your name to Emily. And that would send off alarm bells for me because it's like, you didn't even come to me with this yet. And you already are. Like, that's not okay with me. Because like, if it was the conversation of, hey, David, we need to tell Robyn that we're both going to vote each other so we can get Robyn out of here. But if I hear that you just said that already before we even talked about it, I wouldn't,
Right.
that would irk me. And I think that would start setting off alarm bells for me and be like, maybe there is a plan to just get me out.
For sure.
I do
Yeah.
agree, but at the same time, I feel like this is kind of a unique situation since she had already been pitching his name. I think she had to get out ahead of it before Emily went and told him first. So I think her idea to make it seem like it was a strategic plan for them to say each other's name was the best thing she could have done, considering what she had already done.
The best
So
thing she could have done was not say his name, but
true, very true.
here we are.
The best solution for them was literally the easiest to go, yeah, it sucks that we have to blindside Emily here, but it is easy to blindside Emily. She already has done that to us about 3 different times at this point.
Mhm.
Mhm.
But here
We also find out around this time that Sabaya is doing what I heard a lot of people say she should have done last week, but I honestly didn't think she was allowed to. She decides she's going to take her wax idol and put it in the fire at Tribal Council, which I'm like, okay, come on. You're going to give us an iconic TV moment this episode, no matter what.
Just grilling candles.
Mhm. And oh, sorry, Lana.
Oh no, I was to say it was I loved the fact that Emily took this opportunity. It was like, and I agree with you, Esme. Once Tobias told Emily she already was saying her name, it was like, ooh, no, you ain't even talk about this with me, so you saying my name, so I can't really fully trust you. So Emily was like, Caleb, let me holler at you. Let me holler at you. Um, they voting you out. It's not me, it's you. And I'm not trying to protect my butt. I'm trying to protect you. So you might want to vote Sabaya. I'm voting Sabaya. You vote Sabaya, and she can go because they won't see it coming. I mean, she don't have a vote, and even if she get a vote in the worst things worst, we can go to rocks. I mean,
Or
two,
pitch
it'd be
to Sean to switch the
pitch to
vote.
Sean to switch,
Mhm.
which they could pitch him at the revote. We not
Because
moving.
from what
So
we've
either
seen,
we can go to Rocks and we stay this way, or you
because from what
flip
we've
it on,
seen,
flip it
I
on
feel
her.
like Sean would be the one to flip the vote
Oh, he would have
back,
definitely flipped
and
it.
it would
Oh,
Emily
100%.
Emily
Sean
wouldn't
would
be
have
the one.
100%. If it went to a tie and they were like, look, we don't want to go to Rocks because one of us get rocked out for no reason at all. Because Sabaya and Caleb will be safe. So it's just me and you. One of us is going home. He'll flip in a minute. He'll be like, I'm a sorry, Sabaya.
Yeah.
Sorry, sis.
Emily
You gotta go.
is the one that doesn't flip in that scenario. Emily's the
Yeah,
one that's
she would be like, no, because she really has nothing to lose. Because either she would go
Mhm.
home anyway with the next vote, or she keep the person who actually wants to work with her. Samaya
Mhm.
don't really want to work with Emily. She was just good to work with her for now, but she really
Mhm.
wants to work with Sean.
and they
Caleb
kept
really
losing,
wanted
so
to
there
work
wasn't
with her.
Yeah.
fully time for them to build a relationship outside of stress mode.
So I think it was so good for Emily. And as I said, this is why she raised up in my ranking for the gameplay only, is because she was smart enough to think about this person doesn't really want to work with me, but this person actually really wants to work with me. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to flip it and let them know. Now it's up to him if he believes me or not. I can't do nothing but tell him what I know. And it's not about me, it's you. So when she did that, I was like, props, props. Still don't really like how you coming, but props.
Yeah. Okay, well, let's get to this iconic tribal council. This is one for the books,
This
to
is
be
what we
And
always
honest.
talk about
Yes,
anyway.
yes.
this was a mess. I mean, I don't know that many tribal councils. This is my third. This is like my third or fourth, because I watched Millennials versus Gen X because Mari from Smosh was on it, and then I stopped when she got eliminated.
Oh, that was quick. Episode 2.
I was also like 15 when that season came out. I was like, I'm watching because I know this
It's a
YouTuber,
good
and then they're
season.
like,
Yeah, but this tribal council was amazing. I've
Wow.
never. It was good for so many different reasons. Like when we walked in, when they walked into their seat, and Sabaya was sat down for a second, and she was like, "You know what? Let me." She went and grabbed that thing. And was like, and Jeff was like, "What you doing? What you doing, Sabaya?"
What's
She
up?
was like, "Well, I got this wax thing here, and it's the idol in here, and I need to burn it." And
Mhm.
her voice, her accent, love it. She's like, I have to burn it. So we ain't got fire at our camp yet. So what I'm gonna do is I'm just gonna put this in the fire and let it melt while we're sitting here doing traffic councils. And then she was like, that okay? All right. And like didn't even wait for him to say yes or no. She just like chucked it in there and was like, set it up and was like, oh, I came with tools and everything, Jeff. I was like, this girl, this woman,
I love her.
iconic. I don't care what happens to her. If they don't bring her back for anything else,
Definitely getting a call for second
if
chance.
she gotta get a call back for anything else because baby, she was like, I got tools and everything, Jeff. And so she sat down and
Mhm.
she looked. And they went on with tribal council, just started talking, and then all of a sudden she get up like
Let me
she
It's a
really
survivor cookout.
just survival cookout. And I was like living. I was screaming for that moment. And she just flipping that thing around like she flipping some meat on the grill, baby. I was like, get
Good
it,
for her.
get it. It was so
Mhm.
good. And they continue with tribal council like this wasn't happening. And every so often she'll get up and she'll grab it and flip it. And then once it was done, she was like, okay, Sean, come here. We need to pull this out. We can pour
I'm
this
just gonna look
canteen on it.
cool.
Pour my water.
Yeah.
Just pour this water on so we can cool it off and everything. And they just going. And Jeff is like, is this really happening in the middle of tribal council? And she get it. She let it cool. I'm just going to let it cool off for safety, Jeff. I'm going to let it cool off for safety. I was like, oh my God. I love her so much. I
Me
love
too.
every second of this moment. I love every second of her sitting there. And the look that she would just look over to the fire and then look back to Jeff and go, yeah, Jeff. I think I was just like, I am dying. I screamed. She made this whole thing so worthwhile. Like, I love that they didn't have fire. I love that they didn't have fire at their camp, that she couldn't do this at camp because we would have lost this amazing moment. And it was so good. And when it was finished, she put it in her pocket like, I can't wait to read it. I was like, that's correct. I can't wait to read it. Oh, okay.
It was so camp.
Oh.
Yeah, but the whole time they're still bluffing. Like they're pretty openly bluffing that Emily's going. Everybody knows they're lying. They don't know each other's lying. Well, some of them do. Uh, but yeah, we get into it, and then we finally get to the voting portion of the episode. And this is where I heard Sabaya was actually told, "Oh, you can't vote until you read what it says." So that's why she went up there and she read her note and realized she had a choice to make. She
Which
could
makes sense when
either
they had to say, "Hey, production," had to be like, "Actually, you can't. You have to read this in the booth. Like, take."
It's supposed to only last for one trial count.
Right.
Mhm.
And even if she just voted and then checked, it was like,
that was her plan, though, is to just vote, not read it till she got back at camp. But obviously that wasn't an option given the rules of this specific idol. So we see her standing up there kind of pondering what she should do. I think she felt very secure with her alliance. And she made a judgment call.
Too secure with Emily for my take.
Me too, Robyn. I wouldn't have never felt that secure with anybody. Never felt that secure with Emily.
The person that quite literally at the top of the episode called you out for not having a vote. You trust her?
I was so hoping for this round to end up because there was, before we got to tribal, Caleb wasn't sure about if he believed. I was like, is this going to be a 1-to-1-to-1 vote? And then like Sean has to re-vote, or like Sean has to be the one vote to make on the tie. I was hoping for that. I was hoping that was going to be one name. But we'll get to what happened with the votes.
Yeah. So yeah, we see everybody vote, come back, and then Jeff is reading the votes. And we get Sabaya with 2 votes. And I immediately tweeted this. I'm like, she is the 3rd person in a row to be voted out this season without casting any official votes.
No, everybody who's gone, technically, if we don't count that, the first one, none of the people that have gone home have voted this season.
Correct, yeah, which is kind of crazy to me.
Right.
And I mean, I don't know how normal this is. Only one player left in the game currently has a vote to their name, and it's Caleb.
And it's not
Every other person who has had a vote, they're done. And that includes tribal number 1, where technically Kendra cast a vote for Branch.
Yep.
That's true. And I'm so sad because this is my 2nd week in a row where my favorite person left.
It's been nasty, I fear.
It's been
Who's next on your list, David?
Oh no, Katora.
Don't put that into the atmosphere. Zip your lip, sir.
I'm gonna grab your mouth and stick
You asked.
No, that don't mean the answer. No. Sorry. Yeah, it was. See, you got me all discombobulated. I can't even put the right banners up and take them down. It was. Yeah, I was sad that somebody was like, "Dang, man, I'm glad I didn't pick her for this draft because somebody stole her from me." But in another draft that I did pick her, and I was like. And I was sad because either way, I was going to lose somebody in that other draft because either I picked Sabaya and I had Caleb. And I was like, no. It was sickening.
This was a fun episode. This is a fun episode.
These people are nuts.
Wild.
I mean, Lulu has been an amazing group to watch. Literally half of their members are now gone.
This feels like I'm watching this as somebody who hasn't watched this. This is their first season. This feels like I'm watching somebody I'm at a bar with somebody who's drunkenly telling me a season of Survivor. This is what this season feels like. It feels like a drunk retelling of a season. It doesn't feel like a real season. I don't know if that's just because this is like my first season, but it's so. This start has been so wild. I just don't know where it can go.
But you know what's crazy? This ain't it. We just at episode 3, and it's
3.
already seems like this is crazy. And previews for next week just makes it even more crazy and interesting because the first thing we do see in the previews is drop your buffs. The tribes are switching, and I was like,
Ah,
yes,
Yay!
yes.
great.
Yes.
I'm very excited because some of these people are very comfortable in winning. Reba and Bello, I'm talking to y'all. They're very comfortable when they winning, and they got very established with the people that they with. Now they got to shake it up,
Mhm.
and it's gonna be interesting to watch.
And you know what I'm really hoping they do? I'm
Mhm.
hoping they specifically make sure that two people from Reba and Bello are on each tribe, and then one person from Lulu is on each tribe. That way they're as evenly split as possible,
Mhm.
and you can't just have one group just steamroll if they happen to have a good switch. I would really love to see that happen. Also, I did want to say before we finish talking about Sabaya completely, um, this I'm going to come for production again, and I've come for them on Twitter for this in the past. This is another queer woman who's voted out of Survivor, and we never get to hear that aspect of her story on the show. It's happened consistently since the beginning, since the very first episode, where the first woman ever voted out of Survivor was a lesbian woman, and we did not get to find that out on the show. It is so rare that we find out that queer women are queer women on this show. Please share that aspect. We get it all the time from gay
Mhm.
men. I want to hear about it from these lovely women. So that's my nitpick. Hopefully, we'll hear something about it with Kelly. But yeah,
And on that note, I think we've said all that we needed to say and done all that we needed to do because we got a whole nother episode of Survivor next week that we're going to talk about. We'll be back at the same time next week to talk about episode 4. But before you go, hit that subscribe button. You sat with us this whole time and listened to us talk about Survivor, so hit the subscribe button and talk about us, be with us again, talk about it some more. And follow us on all of our Instagrams at Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok at The Cup Pod. If you happen to hit the dislike button on this video, hit it twice. Period. Follow us on Twitter and Instagram. Twitter's on screaming down there. Instagram, some of us have it in our bios or our names or whatever. So follow us there because we're some funny people and we talk about some interesting things, mostly about reality TV right now, I think for most of us. So and sometimes we get on fights on Twitter from time to time about other things that we are very passionate about. So follow us there. And get your cup merch. Get cup mugs and all the other things at lanagcreations.etsy.com. Yeah, do all the things, and show some love to us because we love you. And that's it, y'all. Cheers.
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 Bye.
Who's going to
Bye.
sing it?
Bye.
Yole, yole,
There we go.
yole, yole, yole,